What's up, yo? This is DJ Kuttin Kandi, and I'm bringing you a session of DJ 101. And right now, I'm going to teach you how to set up your basic equipment, how to cue up your records, and how to hold your records. So, to begin with, you're going to need to start with 2 turntables and a mixer. The turntables are where you're going to play your sound and you're going to play your music, and the mixer is what controls the sound and how it comes out. So the mixer itself, when you use this fader, one side of the mixer will play the left side of the turntable, and when you push the fader to the right side, it plays the right side of the turntable. It's also about learning how to set up your record and how to play and how to cue it up. The purpose of queuing up your records is so that way you know where you want to start your sound and where it begins. Most DJs like to set up their turntables as a clock. So we have 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. Every DJ has their own preference. I personally use between 2 and 3 o'clock. So what we do is we use a sticker, and you could take any kind of sticker. As you notice, mine is a yellow little dot right here. You could use any color you like, and you put it in a position, and then you would then put the sticker where you want your sound to play. So I put my sticker right here, and then when I press play, it's going to start right where the sound that I had wanted it to be. And you would mark it up right where the needle is. I use my needle to mark up the first sound that I want to hear. Marking our records is how we can find where the sound starts and begins, and it makes it easy for us. So every time that I want to hear where I marked my record, it'll be right at that sound. And every time I take it back and I rewind it, it's at that same sound where it was. I rewind it, same sound. Rewind it. Rewind it. It takes me back to that same sound that I originally wanted to play. And now we're going to learn how to drop it on the one. What does drop it on the one mean? Basically, as a DJ, you're going to have to learn how to count. And counting is just like learning music notation and learning measures and bars. So on the left side, I already have my sound queued up to the first sound I want to hear. Right there. So while this song is playing, I'm listening to this, and I'm going to count in my head. And dropping it on the one is where you start your entry point into beat matching. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see the faders in the middle, and you can hear both sides, and it's matching. And that's what you call dropping it on the one in order to beat match. In this session, I'm going to teach you how to do a basic scratch. So now I'm going to teach you a few basic scratches, and the first one I'm going to teach you is the baby scratch. But before we learn how to do that, it's important to learn the history of the scratch. It was made famous and invented by the one and only Grand Wizard Theodore. What Grand Wizard Theodore was doing was he was in his bedroom listening to music, and he was listening it to pretty loud, and his mother came knocking in the door and said, "Can you please lower that music?" And she interrupted him, and as he was playing his music, he had his headphones on, and he was listening to his mom, and he was like, "Yeah, Mom, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Oh, okay, I'll lower music." He was talking to his mom at the same time and moving the record at the same time. So the sound was coming out, and he said to himself, "Wow, that's really cool." And that's how the scratch was created. Over time, different people came out with different scratch styles and patterns. The first thing I'm going to teach you is the baby scratch. So this right here is the baby scratch. So the baby scratch is a very simple scratch where you just start by moving the record forward. Like that, just like that. But you should also hold your turntable, your record, in a certain manner. Some people have different preferences where they put their hand. You definitely don't want to put your hand over here because that would just make you knock off your needle. And you definitely don't want to put it all the way over here because then you'll still knock off the needle. So you really want to start in a place just right over here and hold it. And some people have a preference using 2 fingers or 1. It's really up to you. So you find the sound that you want. Remember to cue up your record, and you find the sound you want. Right here, this is an ah sound. A lot of people sample ahs. So we take that sound ah, and we basically move it forward like this. And then we pull it back, just like that. You could move the fader forward at the same time, and then move it back, and then move it back to that sound. And you move it forward like this, and you could do a few scratches, a little easy wiggas just to get that sound that you want. So you could do like 2 forwards, and then let go, then bring it back, and then do it again. 2 forward scratches, then let go to get that full ah sound, and then you can move the fader back and bring it back. So these are different types of scratches that you can also learn. We have a forward scratch. You would use your hand and you would move forward with the vinyl, and then you would also use the fader at the same time, moving it forward at the same time. Then we also have a transforming scratch, made famous by the one and only DJ Jazzy Jeff, where you take a sound, and in this case, a long ah, and you would cut that sound with the fader. What I mean by cutting it, you're making it sound like ah, 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 because right now you just hear it as an ah. So now I want to make it go into an ah, 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 ah. So I would take the fader and I would move it a few times, cutting that sound in little pieces. So that is a transforming. Of course, it gets a little bit more intricate when you want to do it in a rhythm pattern and you want to scratch to a beat. And then, of course, there's other scratches like the chirp, where you're cutting a sound. You would have your fader already open, not closed. You would have the fader open, and then you would move your hand forward, and then you would move the fader back at the same time at the very beginning of the sound. This creates like a chirp-like sound. And that's a few basic scratches. I am DJ Kuttin Kandi. Thank you for listening in. Now you go out there and be the best DJ on your block. Peace. In this session, I'm going to teach you how to do a basic loop. And we're going to talk about the difference between vinyl versus digital. What is a basic loop? Basically, a basic loop is when you want to play a certain piece of a song, a certain sample of the song, and repeat it on the other side of the turntable. So you would play on the right side that portion of the song that you want to play, depending on how many counts you want to do it. And then while you're playing that sound, you're cueing it up on the left side of the turntable, or whatever side of the turntable you're at, and you would cue it up to that same sound you want to sample, and then you would then transfer the fader over to the left side of the turntable to play that same sample. And then once it's playing on the left side, you would then repeat it, rewind and cue it up on the right side, and then start it right there at the same sound that you want to play. This is where you use the fader, moving it right to left to make sure you play each portion of the song. So you would take the right side of the turntable and drop it right where you have your marked record. And also this is where you would use your counting to make sure you're playing it as a looping sound. You're going to drop it right on that sound that you want to play. So you would play the right side, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would turn it around. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how you do a basic loop. And now I'm going to talk to you about the difference between vinyl versus digital. We are now living in an age of digital DJ, whereas many people use different kinds of DJ softwares, and they still use it in combination with a vinyl-like emulation, and it's plugged into a mixer where you then plug it into your laptop so it could read your MP3s through your laptop or whatever form, like iPod or whatever you choose to use, and it reads it through the mixer and into your copy of a vinyl that seems like a vinyl, which it very much is, but it is a big difference from a regular vinyl record whereas a vinyl record has a different sense of quality and different feel of it. A vinyl record, you can get a certain hiss and a certain sound, like a crispy sound that you don't find in regular digital sound that you can get. The thing about vinyl is that it's also a collecting type of history and culture within itself, where you really learn the appreciation of collecting records that you simply don't find the way you do now, and the atmosphere that it creates in building community of DJs that do collect records. I find that when I look for records, I have a certain way to look through the crate really quickly. I just go through it, and then when I find something interesting, I'll definitely pick it up. And sometimes different records you don't realize could be that one sound you're looking for, especially if you were a producer and you really were looking for a certain sample or a certain sound. As a scratch DJ, we're always looking, when you're trying to come up with really innovative words as scratch routines, you want to look for the record or that beat that nobody has found and then you want to play. There's definitely a different feel going through vinyl and like looking through music that you don't get through looking through an MP3. With digital, you can easily find your MP3s and download it, whereas vinyl, you'd have to go out and search for the records that you want. And that alone in itself is also cultural history, depending on what you prefer. I do suggest learning the basic foundations of that historical legacy of learning to DJ with vinyl, as well as learning how to DJ on the digital, because sometimes the digital, there's still problems and you might end up needing vinyl anyway to learn how to spin or spin at a club if it doesn't work out with the technology of that evening that you're spinning. So that's a little bit of the difference between DJing with the digital and DJing with vinyl. I am DJ Kuttin Kandi. Thank you for listening in. Now you go out there and be the best DJ on your block. Peace.